Hey everybody. The other day I shot a video about removing sick fish from a tank and putting them in a hospital tank, and I questioned the wisdom of whether or not it was always a good idea to do that, and I got a surprising amount of positive feedback on that video of people agreeing with me. But I did get some people that seemed to think that I was suggesting that we should never do this, and that wasn't really the point of that video. The point of that video was just to sort of address this reactionary mentality of the moment you have a sick fish, that sort of reaction is to, oh, you got to get it out of the tank and put it into a quarantine tank or a hospital tank or something. And that's all I was really talking about, was that's not always the case. Every scenario is going to be its own scenario, and you have to address it accordingly. So there are times when it is a good idea to remove a fish and put it in a hospital tank. And so in this video, I want to talk about those times a little bit. And the number one thing to take into consideration is going to be the health and well-being of the fish. So the simplest equation is leaving the fish where it is going to be more stressful than moving it? Or is the process of catching it and moving it going to do more stress and harm than simply leaving it alone where it is? And that's the real equation you have to think about and consider. And there's different factors to consider. Is the fish suffering from like cloudy eyes? Does it have fungus on its eyes? If that's the case, you may want to remove it from a tank like this that has a lot of stuff in it that is going to allow the fish to swim into things that it can't see and possibly injure itself or gouge one of its eyes out. If you have it in a small tank where there's not a lot of stuff that it could bash into, in that case, maybe leaving it in a tank it's familiar with would be better than putting it in an unfamiliar tank where it's going to run into the walls. So that would be a very specific scenario. Is my tank more dangerous than putting it in sort of a bare-walled yet unfamiliar tank where, again, a temporarily blind fish is going to be banging into the walls and stuff like that? But I'd rather have it bang into walls than sharp sticks and jagged rocks and stuff. So, again, every scenario is going to be its own considerations, but the ultimate question is, what's going to be better for the fish? Is it more stressful and more dangerous to leave it here or to move it? A lot of times when a fish is sick or injured, nature is cruel, and all the other fish will gang up on a fish that's being, swimming funny or is not acting normal. In that case, you may want to remove the fish and put it into a different tank. If you want to put it into specific water conditions for the sake of treating it, if you want to put it in a higher salt concentration to relieve dropsy or something like that, that would be a good time to remove it and put it in a hospital tank. So there are plenty of times when removing it. Another good example I can think of is if you're going to medicate the fish via diet rather than doing a whole tank medication. If you're going to medicate your fish via diet, you want to be able to regulate the diet, make sure you can see exactly what the fish is eating. You want to avoid having it in a tank where it's got lots of natural food sources. You want to be able to make sure it's eating that medicated food you're giving it. So putting it in a tank where it's isolated and it's forced to eat that medicated food is a perfect scenario where removing it and putting it in a hospital tank would be a good idea. So again, every scenario is going to be different. Every scenario is going to require its own thought and consideration. My only real point to that last video was just don't have this reactionary, got to get the fish out of the tank and put it in another tank. That's not always what's best for the fish. It is what's best for the fish sometimes, but not always. And because of that, we need to think about it in those terms. Treat every scenario as though it's its own scenario. So I'm going to say that's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget I do a live stream every Friday and Sunday night at 8 o'clock. I have memberships available now, and if you're subscribed and you ring that bell, you won't miss any of my spur-of-the-moment live streams that I do from time to time. So thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you real soon in the next one.